guys, I'm here actually to talk about what I've been playing recently. Megan and I are thinking of doing that from time to time just to kind of give a chance to have some conversations about certain games, maybe let people know about some games they haven't played, and our thoughts might give you guys a chance to, oh, maybe I'll try that game out sometime. So figured I'd talk about what I'm playing right now. And my dog is walking around, so if there's any sounds or anything like that, that could be what it is. First of all, I'm returning to The Last of Us, the remastered version, actually, for PS4, and playing the Left Behind DLC that came out. I've finished the main game in this, but I've never played through the Left Behind DLC, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I mean, really, all I could say is it's more of what made the first full part of the game great, but it's a cool little side story, and really, the game's so story-based that I don't want to say anything because I'll spoil that, but wanted to at least mention it, that I've been playing it, and I really like the direction they're taking with it. It's a little fresh little side story, but with the feel of what made The Last of Us such a great game. And this, in my opinion, I played through it on the PS3. I haven't played through it to the end on this version, but in my opinion, definitely see why it gets all the praise it gets. It's definitely worth it. Yes, it has some cliches in it, but also subverts some cliches in it at the same time. And for the video game industry, the fact that we can make a solid piece of entertainment like this that might have some cliches still works well because of the medium that we're in. It's still in its infancy, and it's nowhere close to the storytelling of books or Hollywood. So this is definitely a step in the right direction in some ways. So really cool game. Playing through the Left Behind DLC now. But what I really wanted to talk about, because I feel not as many people will know about this. I'm playing through a game for the DS. It's a sequel to one of my favorite games for the DS system. This particular game is called Last Window: Secret of Cape West. Now you may notice on here it's a PAL title. It's the only PAL DS game I have, but the reason I have it, not only is it a sequel to a game I love, but it's playable on the 3DS. The 3DS is region-free, not for 3DS games, but for original DS games. So that opens up the library a little more to some stuff that I can play. And this game wasn't too expensive. I actually got it at Forgotten Freshness, famous store in our videos and our friends' videos that you've probably seen before. But can't say enough good things about that store. And one of the other good things is that sometimes he has some interesting import titles like this. Real quick, let me give you a little backstory of the game, the predecessor to it, that did come out in North America. It's called Hotel Dusk Room 315? 215, oops. 315 is my area code. So. But anyway, really cool game. It's kind of like if you played old adventure games on the PC or console. It's basically a point-and-click adventure without the pointing and clicking. But it also is a visual novel, which is a popular genre right now. A lot of people also like to just throw it aside because they think, oh, I'd rather read a real book and everything. But I kind of have an argument against that I can talk about while I discuss this game. So, Hotel Dusk was a really cool game with a great story, great characters, and most importantly, a great art style. Really looked cool. It has kind of this sketched look, but it has some animations and stuff. Really cool. And moving on to the sequel, this takes place some years later. Same main character, more of the same gameplay, but with some cool tweaks and stuff. Now, what's cool about this, and about some well-made visual novels, I'll say, because there is some crap out there that feels like it could be like a flash game on the internet, just having conversations, and there's no real meaty gameplay, so to speak. But what's cool about this game is, maybe it is similar to reading a book. Why wouldn't I just read a book? But what's cool is these games let you have these conversations face-to-face with the characters. So you really start to get these relationships built and established with these characters. And I really like that because it's a typical mystery type thing where there's going to be a lot of clues and twists and everything along the way that you're going to try to piece together in your head. And I still not quite to the end yet, so there's still some stuff that has to be resolved. But being able to actually go up to the characters, ask these questions, come back, and there's little social things too, like spending time in a cafe with them, having dinner with them and stuff. So little things like that really make you feel like you're a part of the setting, and really establishes it well. And another thing that's cool about the game is for its gameplay style, you actually play it differently. Instead of holding the DS like you would like this, you actually hold it like a book. You hold it sideways. And I'll show you here real quick. The screen on this side is an overhead map, and on this side is a first-person perspective. So you can either use the stylus or the D-pad to move yourself around the map, and the screen, of course I'm looking at the wall, the screen will show what's on there. And then what's cool is you go up to something you want to investigate. Let me go into his kitchen here. As you can see here, I'm looking at the stove, and on the map it shows what I'm looking at. I can go a little closer and investigate it. There's a little magnifying glass, and there's your character on the side. And as you can see, there's the cool little like sketch style that the characters have. It has a little animation and stuff. And what you can do is you can use a slider or the directional buttons to look around. And then when you're looking around, you can like go, oh well, let's see. And he talks about what's in the cupboard there, and sometimes he'll go into it and you'll see items and stuff. So there's a lot of puzzles, clues, things to find within the settings that you explore like that. When you do conversations, it's kind of like one person looking at another on the other side, and so it's like a cool back and forth between the characters. Really interesting game. Another cool thing about it is it definitely takes advantage of the DS hardware with the touch screen and stylus. And even things like the folding of and opening and closing of your DS. There'll be some puzzles that you might need to, and this isn't really spoiling the puzzles in general, but because not just closing it will solve the puzzle, but you might have to close the DS in a way that you'd expect whatever item in the game would react that way if you moved it that way and stuff. So it gives you little interactions and stuff like that. Plus there's some touchscreen stuff for like when you're trying to solve something, whether it's unlock something or whoa, what's this behind? Like, there's a cool. This is an early game spoiler. There's a woman is blaming somebody in the apartment building that you live in, that thinking the guy stole her ring, and so she lets you look in her apartment because she's trying to cool down. She's like, all right, let's see, maybe I missed it. She calls you in, and you explore like I showed in that first person perspective. You explore the room and stuff. And I noticed as I was going around underneath desk in the corner there was a little shiny ring way set back, like it fell between the desk and the bed or something like that. So I investigated it, and once I identified it, I told her that I thought I saw something, and she's like, well, how are you going to get out of there? That thing's nailed to the wall because you live in what used to be a hotel, now is an apartment place, so all the rooms are similar in their setup, so some of the stuff can't move, and so you had to find items and stuff to try and get to that. And I think I used like some sewing thread she had, and a safety pin. I tied it together, and then there was a little, almost like a mini game to solve the puzzle where I had to like fish out the ring using the crafted item I did, and I pulled it out and solved that puzzle. So that's like gameplay interactions, but there's definitely a lot of moving back and forth. The setting's so well established that you're not just in one room the whole game or something. You go through this whole hotel, and it's all about like the inner workings of the relationships with everybody. Somebody knows somebody from the past, and you have a backstory that ties into the current story. So just a really cool game, and I love the way it looks, and the music is this cool jazzy feel. Your main character has like a jazz record collection, so it kind of plays into that, but also gives it that kind of film noir feel, and that's really cool. And I'd say I'm on probably the last chapter of the game. I think there's 10 chapters, and I'm on the 10th, and things are getting a little heated towards the end now, so it's a little more intense, but really cool game. I think that the visual novel genre, I'm sure there's a lot of anime-inspired, romantic, visual novels that are just, maybe not to anyone's taste particularly. Although there's definitely an audience for them because they sell. But I really like these ones. Well, I talked about Phoenix Wright games, the Ace Attorney series, in my digital roundup video I did, and I think that was a kind of open, it was like a gateway to these this genre, and it really helps with the character building for this medium. And I mean, it's like, if you don't have a problem with sitting down and reading a good book, I don't see why you should have a problem with sitting down in this game, which gives you, there's my dog, gives you some interaction with the characters directly, and you make decisions, and you say things, and there's fail states by saying the wrong thing, so there's ways you can get yourself into a corner or lock yourself in a room or something, that gets you stuck, and it's frustrating when you get to that point, but it's also cool and what makes the game engaging. So this game, I think, definitely is a good example of a visual novel, and of course Hotel Dusk, which is a little easier to obtain because it did come out here in North America. Great series. I would love them to make more for the 3DS, or even the Wii U would be cool with the touchscreen on the gamepad, but I know that would never happen. So, and my dog and cat are fighting right now. But yeah, that's what I've been playing right now. I mean, I've been picking up some games here or there and testing them out and seeing what I might want to play in the future. But those are what I'm really hardcore playing right now. So Megan and I are going to do this from time to time to kind of show you and talk about some of the games we've been playing. And if you haven't played some of them, like I definitely would recommend playing this series. And obviously something like Last of Us, a lot of people have played already. But there might be somebody who hasn't played it yet, and something we can say will give somebody the incentive to go, maybe I'll rent it or I'll pick it up cheap or something. So, and Megan's been playing some different stuff that I've been playing, so she'll definitely want to talk about some of that as well. So, hope you like this video. A little something to fill in the gaps between other videos, and we'll see you in the next one.